Hello, welcome to Meet the Author, sponsored by Author Event Network in partnership with Bremerton Public Access Television. I'm your host, Guy Morris. Author Event Network is a nonprofit association of local authors who sign books at local festivals, fairs, and events. Our guest today is Carmine Valentine. Hi, Carmine. How are you doing?
Hi, Guy. Thanks for having me here.
Our pleasure. You're a new author, so I'm always excited to meet the new authors and get to know you and get to know your books, so this is a great time for me as well. I always like to start with a basic question.
Okay.
Being an author is not a big money maker for most of us. What inspired you to become an author?
A love of storytelling.
Okay.
It started with probably love of reading. For me, I've read a lot as a kid. I would get lost in reading. That was my escape, my time. And then my first experience with writing a story was in a high school creative writing class. And I just fell in love with it. In fact, we had to pick an author to mimic, and I picked Edgar Allan Poe. And so my first story I ever wrote was a mystery.
Okay.
But I also loved romance. That was my go-to book to read. But it wasn't until I was in my 30s I had this moment, like an epiphany, that this is what I need to do. I need to write stories. And it happened right after I had finished reading a romance that had left me with this wonderful feeling, optimistic feeling, full of hope, and just a warm feeling inside. And I just wanted to do that so that other people could read it and have that same feeling. But what held me back was I had a father who thought romance was nonsense. I mean, he literally ripped a romance novel out of my hand once and said, find something intelligent to read. So, and funny thing is, I put that book...
Fathers always have a unique perspective on the world that's,
So for a long time, I had this, I was embarrassed to tell anybody I wanted to write romance. I started doing it anyway. And then, of course, so there was a long delay to the point where I could finally fully write romance and tell the world that I was doing that. And now I just, like I came out of the closet. I can write romance now. And actually, I waited till he died. He would not have liked it. So, but anyway, I just wanted to share with people the same experience I have when I get lost in a novel. And here I am. I mean, it took decades, but I just never gave up on the dream.
So now have you, forgive me, one of my things is snarkiness, so have you decided, have you figured out a way to combine the Edgar Allan Poe and the romance?
So that's when I started bringing mystery. The reason I brought in mystery is, one, it was a genre I loved. So I love romance and I love cozy mystery. So I blended the two. Okay. I couldn't just write. I tried writing romance alone, but I wanted something more. I wanted there to be a whole lot more going on than a love story. I tried writing mystery alone. I kept bringing in romance because I wanted something. I wanted the protagonist to have a counterpart, a partner. And I wanted that happy ever after. So I just slowly evolved towards, it took me a while to really find what was going to be at the heart of my stories and learn how to be a writer as well. So I was just, my first book I sent out came back very polite, where are you going with this? And then the second rejection, pretty much there was a pattern there, so I knew that, and I was untrained. I was writing without any formal training whatsoever. So I knew I had to start taking workshops, and that's how I started really learning the craft.
So you write cozy mysteries and romance. We got that, and so are there? You mentioned that it took you a while to find out kind of the core to what to write about, how to build that genre. To me, I call those themes.
Yes.
So what kind of themes do you bake into your stories, and are they different for each story, or do you have consistent themes that you're exploring from different angles?
They're fairly consistent in that there will always be, and I like this term. Someone came up with this classic romantic tension. And a cozy mystery. Okay. I'm just in love with that combination. Okay. Small town. That's where I'm going with right now. Small town, like All Fired Up, is small town. The whole series is set in small towns. Friendships, that is going to be at the core of it. There will always be friendships. I think of that as the mentor, that each protagonist will need a mentor of some sort, someone they can have their back, someone they can call up and say, hey, I really like this person, what do you think? Or even, step in when the mystery gets a little dangerous and help out as well, which is what happens in All Fired Up. So friendships is a theme. Family, there's always going to be family in there. I came from a very large family.
Okay.
And although I don't bring my family into it, I don't want to write about my family. I want to...
do you have...
Don't want to go there. I mean, great family, but I don't want to do that to them.
Sort of characters that are sort of based on family? Do you let your family kind of live out in other characters, and we won't mention names?
I'm not going to do that to my siblings, just want to protect them.
Okay.
But my dad had it coming. So, yeah, I put a little bit of his character in this book. There's a grandfather figure who is a very difficult person. Why not?
Well, why not? Why not?
You write from experience.
You write from experience. Yeah, yes. I father-daughter issues are well known in my house. Now, what? So you mentioned characters as friends and family and potential romance. Tell me about the cozy mystery part of your stories, and where do you get the inspiration for that? And how many people have to die or overpay for their groceries?
So, cozy in that I didn't want to go dark or thriller. I didn't want to scare myself because I can barely read those myself. I can barely watch a thriller movie.
Okay.
I am a fan of cozy mysteries. I read them and I watch them on streaming. So cozy, and that may be like the series, the Barefoot by Moonlight series. There's not going to be a dead body in any of these.
Okay.
There'll be stolen valuables, stolen jewels, stolen millions, a missing person who saw something they shouldn't have seen, so kidnapping. And one of them, there's going to be a missing professor who's got a secret formula. Oh. So I'm keeping it kind of like on the Nancy Drew level.
Got it.
And I have played around with, maybe once this series is complete, going with a cozy mystery where there are some dead bodies, but I think I would keep it what they call almost off the page. Maybe all you see is their legs sticking out of the bushes. Yeah. That's enough for me.
It's the innuendo sometimes you only need that sometimes. You don't need to get graphic. Yeah.
But keep it cozy in that there will always be a little bit of humor. There'll be some drama, conflict, community. I like the idea of the community pitching in and helping out, even if it's the gossip chain. Help
do those
spreading
still
the
exist?
word. Yeah. In this book, there's a lot of island gossip, but it helps. It's frustrating for the protagonist at the beginning. It helps her at the end.
Got it.
Yeah.
You value the gossip.
Yes. Because they're only doing it to help out.
Of course they are. They're good neighbors.
Yes.
They wouldn't tell you about it if it didn't matter. Of course.
That's right.
So, what is it about your personal experiences that you allowed to kind of bake into your books and that inspired these characters and these stories?
So I have what I call a vault of emotions. So, we've all been through a lot in our life, and we deal with it or we don't deal with it. We move on, but you don't forget how that experience made you feel. And I channel that. So when if I'm going to write about heartache, okay, I've experienced that. If I'm going to write about like a confrontation, maybe I didn't get to in real life go toe-to-toe with that person, but in my books, you bet.
But in your mind afterwards, you were telling him off. You were saying exactly.
Yeah, so basically the books are what I wish I'd said.
Yeah, exactly, what I should have said.
Yeah, what I should have said. The other personal experiences would be, I'm from the Northwest, Pacific Northwest. All the locations in my stories, I've been there.
Okay.
Repeatedly. And they're places I love. I would never write a location that I didn't love. I didn't feel a special vibe there. And then my family's from around here, so like book 2 that's coming out this year is in La Conner. And my mom is 3rd generation there.
Wow.
So I know a lot of stories from the aunts, and I know that place really well. So there's some personal experiences that will come in that story, and just maybe little bits, not enough to ever do any harm to anybody. But again, most of it's emotions that I put in the books from my experiences.
That's, I think we all have to find those parts of ourselves that we bake in, whether it's experiences, it's places, it's other people, it's emotions. For me, it's things I've learned and encountered. But I think that personal, they say write what you know.
Yes.
But I also like to believe write what you can research.
Right, I love research.
Yeah.
That's one of the best parts of writing a story, is spending time digging in, even if that bit of information is only going to have one line.
Yeah.
I'm curious. That's my nature.
Authentic.
I'm a very curious person, so I will spend far too much time researching why that road was named that road. And all I'm going to do is put the name of the road in the story, but I still want to know.
I love research too, but my books are saturated with factual information from around the world and different places and treaties and history and all that kind of stuff. And I think it gives us context.
Yes.
And so the fact that you've got 3 generations here in the Northwest gives you a pretty good reason to write about the Northwest.
Yes.
Interesting. So is there a reason for the titles for the book, and are they part of a series or are they independent?
So All Fired Up is book 1 in the Barefoot by Moonlight series.
Okay.
And that series evolved over quite a few years before it finally showed up in this book, second edition. But the series is about 4 friends in a writing group, and they're called the Barefoot by Moonlight Writers.
Okay.
And they're all feeling like their writing is lackluster and they're stuck. So they came up with this little game. They dare each other to go to a location the others will choose and write your best book. So they draw straws. So Marianne in book 1 draws the straw, and they send her back to her hometown on Orcas Island, and that's not where she wants to go. There's too much conflict back there. But she goes, and of course, the whole theme of the series is that a mystery will bring 2 people together. So when she takes this dare and shows up on Orcas Island, she finds there's no time for writing as a mystery unfolds, and so does a growing romance. So that's going to happen to each of the 4 writers. So book 2 will be another writer, book 3 and book 4, and I'm playing around with adding a 5th writer to the group so that I can have a 5th book that I'm playing around with in the back of my head.
Excellent, excellent.
And all the titles in the series starts with the word all, and they're all phrases. So All Fired Up, one might say that, I'm all fired up. Book 2 is All You Desire. Okay. And then book 3 is All for Love, and book 4 is All or Nothing. Okay. And now these 2 little books are novellas. So they're short stories. One Step Over the Mistletoe Line, that basically is 2 very good friends that they're each in relationships that aren't working right now, and they're trying to figure out, well, should I let him know I care about him and I want this to be more than a friendship? So they're afraid to take that step over the line in case that destroys the friendship. And then The Last Blind Date is another novella, and it's literally her last blind date because her friend's always setting her up. This blind date turns into a mystery going on the date, but it's the last person she dates because he's the one.
He's the one.
Yes.
And you never expect to get that out of a blind date.
No, she didn't want to go in the first place because the last one was just, a disaster.
Yes, we've all had those.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about it. I still get a twitch in my left eye. So you have some other books. Tell us a little bit more about the new books you have coming out this year and how those relate to. Looks like that's going to be part of this series, and how they relate. And do you have an idea of the theme behind that book, or the? I know it's a cozy mystery. Yes. She goes to another town, but do you have an idea? You have a title. Is there a story there yet?
Yes. So I'm working on book 2 is All You Desire, and the connection to book one is, so in book one, you will meet Marianne's brother Ian and Marianne's best friend Fiona. And Fiona's in the writing group. So Fiona draws a short straw, and she goes off to Laconner. She doesn't want to go there because she has to stay with an eccentric aunt. And Ian is a special agent of the FBI, and he's on a case that has led him to Laconner.
Okay.
So, and then Fiona uncovers a mystery in her aunt's yard where it's around stolen millions. So there's this armored car robbery, that a case that went cold, that some money has started showing up.
Now, is that based on a real story, or is that fictional?
It's not a real story.
Okay.
I did some research on, how much does a bag of money weigh, and how can you rob an armored car? And of course, I am doing creative licensing here, making all this stuff up. But the idea is that the clues that Ian's follows take him to Laconner, to Fiona's aunt's home, because there's a connection there. And Fiona writes amateur sleuth stories, so she's all excited about, a mystery. I want the same excitement and danger that Marianne had, because she wants to do that. She wants to live that experience, thinking that will help with her stories, but she gets in way over her head with trying to solve this mystery, trying to help Ian. At the same time, they both realize they have feelings for each other, but they've both been hurt in the past, so they're really not anxious to. They're trying to avoid love right now.
Yep.
But like I like to say in my books, life has other plans for them. And the themes are the same, that there's going to be romance, a cozy mystery, a small town, friendships are going to play a part, the community is going to play a part. I'm going to really have fun with that.
Okay.
Because there's the money was stolen. It's $100 bills are starting to show up around town. So the residents of this town think there's a philanthropist in town, leaving them this money, not realizing that there's another way it's ending up on their doorstep, which I don't want to give that away.
Okay.
And the other theme is I'm working in an animal lovers theme.
Oh, okay.
Where I probably just gave it away, because I'm going to have a small dog in there. It's my dog that's no longer with me, but he's going to play a part in this story. And a garden theme. There's a garden show going on, so there's a lot of focus on the garden where this mystery's taking place.
Well, all the advertisers in the world will tell you puppies sell.
Okay, good.
I added a kitten at the end of one of my books, and my wife, who's an animal lover par excellence, we're rescuing another one. It seems like an annual event for us now. She read the book, and the only thing that she remembered was the fact that he gave her a kitten at the end. I said,
but people will remember that.
People will remember that. There's 100 things go on in that book. It's one of those. It's a Dan Brown thriller, but she remembers the kitten.
Yes, people remember how the dog was treated and how the cat was treated, or the horse.
Exactly.
They'll forget about the hero.
They forget about the heroes. Yeah, we see them on TV all the time. They get shot. They come. They go. They
don't hurt the cat.
They get a facelift, but what about the cat?
Yes.
So. They all sound like they take place roughly about the same time. You've got your world building, and it sounds like a lot of it is in your imagination.
Yes.
You're not necessarily pulling on real people, real crimes, real events, but you're kind of consolidating all of the things that you've kind of learned. And when you're doing that, tell us about your process a little bit. How do you decide what resonates for you and what will resonate for your audience when you're doing that?
Well, for most of it is about me. It's about, I enjoy the storytelling so much, I write what I would want to read.
Yeah.
And speaking about world building, so the series takes place over the course of a year. And I did that intentionally because I wanted to share with readers the different seasons in the Northwest. So of course I have a story in April, I have a story in June, and then October, and then again winter, so that I can bring those elements into the story. But So when I write the story, I know I want a romance, I know I want a happy ending. That's for the reader. I want a happy ending, but I want them to read about a happy ending too. And I want to write about growing relationships that aren't about infatuation. It's about real love, respect, and decency. And I want to just, don't go into it too much, but just hint at the fact that these are good people that know how to treat others. And that's a good qualities to have in a partner. So that's kind of at the heart of my story, is good people and deserving love, but they know how to treat, there's no mistreating anybody in my story. If there is, it's going to be the nemesis, and he's going to get it in the end. So, yeah, I think I write a story, the overall goal of my storytelling is to entertain, and leave you with a good feeling in the end.
So, do you have a target audience? Are you targeting particularly young women? Or are you targeting teenagers? Or where do you see the real prime of the people who you're targeting?
Well, since my characters are in their early 30s, mid-30s, I figured that's my target audience of readers. Honestly, I'm not really that good at figuring out my target market yet. Although, for marketing reasons, they tell you you've got to narrow it down to where they live, what they do for a living, how they shop. For me, I read all kinds of genres.
Yeah.
I'll read young adult, and I'll read history, and I'll read a biography and a memoir. I think my books will resonate with those looking for a classic romance, the cozy mystery, so there's two conflicts going on there, and looking for a happy ending. But someone that wants to have it's more than just physical attraction and about the love. It's beyond that. It's about, again, finding that person, that special person. So I think that can cross over to all ages.
Yeah, yeah. We only have time for about one more question. You recently joined Author Event Network. Tell us about what your expectations, what your hopes are for that experience, and why you chose that organization. And are you excited about the coming season?
Yes. So I heard about the Author Event Network through the bookstore owner at Booktree, Chris, and I thought, wow, that's fantastic. Authors sharing a booth at an event rather than, paying the high price for the booth and being there all day long. The more the merrier. And I think the more genres of books will get more people to your table.
Exactly.
I've done events before, and I've been successful at beer fests. And I don't know what it is about putting my romance book next to a beer vendor, but I sold a lot of books. So I thought that was my niche.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a drink and then go read this book about the love life I don't have yet.
Yeah, and it was the guy buying the book for his girlfriend. So that was fun.
That was sweet.
So I'm really looking forward to the Author Event Network, selling books, but meeting other authors. I love talking about books. So when I hear someone say they like to read, doesn't matter where I am, a total stranger, I'll ask them, well, what genre do you read? And of course, I am trying to lead them into like, hey, I write romance with a cozy mystery, but generally we end up talking about the thriller, or they recommend a book to me.
Well, Carmen, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you part of the group. Thank you for watching Meet the Author. Come to meet all the AEN authors during the summer event season in Seattle and Portland, and keep on reading.